Hey, Mama. Welcome back to the Thrive Mama podcast. I'm Martina, certified nutrition consultant and holistic health coach, and a mama of two, and I'm so glad you're here. I'm here to help busy moms unlock their energy, balance their hormones, and break out of burnout using nutrition as a foundation. On this podcast, we will dive into actionable strategies on nutrition, nervous system healing, and aligning with your cycles, all with a healthy dose of relatable motherhood thrown in. Designed to help you move past surviving to actually thrive in motherhood. Let's do this. We are getting a little raw, a little real in today's episode. I am taking you behind the scenes into the past month of my life. You may have heard me share a little bit on social media about how I have been moving through my own burnout spiral over the past 6 weeks. And today on this episode, we are going to explore what was going on there and how I navigated through it and some new lessons that I learned this time around that are completely changing the way that I move through my day and use my energy. So let's dive in. So the month of May ended with me feeling just completely exhausted. I was feeling depleted. I was waking up with that like heavy pressure in my chest, even parts of my life that I really love and enjoy. I was just like kind of dreading. Like everything felt so heavy and I felt exhausted no matter how much I was sleeping. I honestly had a hard time calling it burnout because I haven't had a true cycle of what I would consider burnout since like fall of 2023. So it's been almost 2 years. And I am now deep in this work of helping others thrive in their energy and helping us overcome burnout. And I still had something new to learn about it here. So if you have been feeling exhausted, no matter how much you rest, if your to-do list feels overwhelmingly heavy, you may be closer to burnout than you realize. And this episode is for you. I think there are some nuggets here that are going to be really important for you to hear. So for me, naming it as burnout was actually really important part of the process. And it happened in a moment of clarity during a ceremony I was in, during a moon ceremony. I was sitting in circle with other women in meditation, and it landed as like an intuitive message from my soul and my body that we're not just tired, we're not busy, it's not just that time of our cycle. This is burnout, and it needs to be seen, and it needs to be addressed so it doesn't continue to spiral. And I actually think that's really important for you to sit with. Where are you in patterns of just feeling tired or temporarily busy? And where are you in patterns of prolonged demands on your energy that go beyond your capacity? And that's where I really was. I had been really kind of hustling for about 6 weeks straight. And for me, the root of that was in my work and in some old like money scarcity stories and pressure I was putting on myself. And this was actually my first step. So this is what I would invite anyone moving through burnout into. Try to reflect on the root. Because as we talked about in episode, I don't know, like 2 episodes ago, 23, we talked about in episode 23, there are three different types of burnout, and knowing what kind of burnout you are in is actually really important. And getting to the root of where the burnout is stemming from is super, super valuable. Sometimes we don't know, and that's okay too. It's okay not to know. So for me, it was centered around my work and money scarcity and pressure around financial security. For some of my clients, it's rooted around stretches of time solo parenting and feeling like you're the only one holding the load of the kids. For others, maybe it's your work dynamics. Maybe there's something really draining or toxic or unsustainable about your work environment in general. Maybe there's like family stress. Maybe you have some kind of internal imbalance that's leaving you completely burned out, like your hormones or your blood sugar, some of these foundational things we talk about. For me, my nutrition foundation, my blood sugar, my hormones, they were all really steady, really nourished, and I continued using all those tools. But for many clients, that is the root. So that's where we focus first. But since that foundation for me already felt really strong, I got to sort of move through into more of an energy nervous system and subconscious programming layer. Because what I realized is that although I have really expanded my capacity in my nervous system around motherhood, running a business is still pretty new to me. I'm only about a year in to working for myself, and it is a different nervous system load. And I'm getting to apply all my tools the same way, but I still have a lot of lessons to learn on this journey for sure about how we move through like our soul's work in the world in a way that is sustainable and aligned and honors your body. Okay, because I'm the queen of hustling and the queen of productivity, and I've really transformed that in my home and family. And now I'm getting to learn that lesson in a new loop in my work. So after I recognized what was going on and I named it as burnout, there were actually a few very clear steps that I took that I want to walk you through because these steps really are where I would recommend you start if or when you move through your own burnout cycle. So, the first thing I did actually was sit in ceremony. This realization came to me in a ceremony, and my next step was actually to go back into that space alone and really reflect and listen deeply, connect inward. And when I say ceremony, just to be really clear here, we're not talking about anything with like religious affiliations. Ceremony is simply a sacred held space and time for you to connect inward with yourself, for you to like hear the voices of your soul instead of just the chatter of your mind. So I created space. For me, I really love to ritualize this, and I guide my clients through this too. It's a really beautiful process of healing and thriving where we light candles and set sacred space and really carve out the time and we make it beautiful and connected. And then we sit. Maybe we pull cards, maybe we journal, maybe we meditate, maybe we just sit in silence, maybe we dance or move or shake, but we listen to our body. And I got a lot of clarity on where this was coming from. Oh, this burnout's coming from money scarcity stories. Great, good to know. Because if I hadn't had that clarity, the next steps would not have felt clear. So for me, creating that space was really important. Your ceremony might just be taking a solo walk in the woods. It might be taking an hour-long shower. Like your ceremony can look different than mine, but the important thing is to create space to like reflect inside and just let your body and your soul tell you what's up. So now that I know my root and where things are coming from, I took some aligned action and the solution came to me in ceremony as well. And I realized, okay, I have been nonstop producing and creating from a place of these old money patterns that I'm ready to let go of. How can we shift that? We need to take the money pressure off of my work. So for me, I created like a month-long experiment. So for the month of June, I was not allowed to create anything new, no new products, no new programs, and I wasn't allowed to really like launch anything big. And in order to make that happen, since of course that impacts our money coming in, we adjusted my work schedule. So I stayed home with the girls more days. We saved some money on daycare and we created more space for me to be present with my kids and get space away from the pressure of creating because I love my work. And I was recognizing that I was feeling that scarcity pressure and it was impacting how I was able to move through the things I freaking love doing anyway. Now, this action would not make sense if my route had been different. If my route was really the ages my kids are at is just really challenging and I'm feeling so drained and exhausted and I'm too much solo parenting on my own, cutting down work hours to spend more days alone with them would not help. But in my route, this was the perfect antidote. It really created space for me to just have some summer fun with my kids. They were not any cause of my stress or overwhelm, so it actually felt like a relief to have days of blocked time with them. And on those days, I had to use my nervous system tools and rituals and even herbs. I used a lot of herbs for my nervous system and worked with a lot of plants to reprogram my response because I promise you, for those first like 2 weeks, every day that I was taking space from work, every day that I was spending with my kids, I was reprogramming the narrative inside of we should be working. What are we doing? We need to be making money. We can't be taking this time. This is so irresponsible. Your wife is going to hate you for not bringing in enough money. There were like all these old stories that came up when I did the opposite of what my nervous system wanted me to do, which was work harder. So I did the opposite, had all the stories came up, and I got to use my nervous system tools that I teach my clients to reprogram them super intentionally. And in this 1 month experiment, I gave myself some buffers. So I did still have some work time. I didn't just take the whole month off, but I made a rule with myself that if the pressure or urgency or tightness showed up at all, I had to stop what I was doing. I had to pause, walk away, and do anything else. I could take a nap. I could have a dance party. I could go for a walk. I could play piano. I could not come back to the work until I was recentered. I cannot tell you how many Instagram posts I started and never finished last month because the pressure came in as I was working on it. And I could feel it. For me, it comes in my body, in my chest area usually, or in my shoulders. And I could feel the tightness and pressure. There was no clear reason. The post I was making wasn't high stakes, right? And you might feel this too. Like, your pressure or tightness or urgency might come in around your home and you're doing the laundry and you're like, there's no reason to feel like this. There's no logical reason that this is stressing me out. It's not that high stakes, but I feel it. The programming around it is real and your body doesn't lie. So I had to create a lot of space to listen to my body's red flag. And when the red flag came up, I don't care what's on my to-do list. I don't care what my brain says. I pause and I reset. And here's the fascinating thing. Here's the lesson that really changed everything for me. My external day to day flow in my work didn't actually change that much. If you were on the outside clocking what I was doing, my output wasn't that different in June versus the other months. You probably noticed I still showed up on this podcast. I still sent emails. I still posted on social media. I still supported all my clients. I even opened doors to Lunar Living, one of my programs, and we had the biggest cohort join yet. From the outside, it looked like I was still working sort of like normally, just only 3 or 4 days a week instead of 5 or 6, right? But it felt completely different because I had this internal shift in giving myself permission to stop the moment it felt heavy, the moment it felt tight. But what was amazing about this is that with that permission there, I actually still wanted to do all the things. Like I still found joy and purpose in doing all the things. The energy felt completely different because I knew I didn't have to. I knew I had choice. I knew I could stop at any time. The pressure to make money was off. And I started acting like the CEO of my business, which I am, instead of like this overworked, overtaxed employee, which is how I definitely was acting before. Now, you may not own your own business, but I guarantee you that in the flow of your life, there are areas where you could reclaim your CEO status, where you are acting from external pressure or urgency, or you're letting old subconscious programming dictate the pace at which you move and how much you are, quote unquote, supposed to get done in a day. So, this was completely transformational for me because it really reinforced this idea that it is not what you do, it is how you do it. It is not what you do, it is how you do it. My energy changed around what I was doing, and that changed my burnout completely. And this is really empowering news because this means you do not have to wait for your external schedule to change, for you to be able to afford a housekeeper, for your kids to go back to school. You can move through the demands of your day while healing your burnout if you shift your energy around it, if you can break the patterning that is bringing in the pressure and urgency. And this is a deeply internal journey. For me, it was all rooted in reprogramming the scarcity and money pressure pattern. For you, it may be something completely different that is causing the intensity. But it's incredibly freeing to know that when you take the intensity out, you actually still do the things. You still want to do the things, and the things happen and just feel better doing them. We don't have to choose between productivity and peace, which is subconsciously where I was before. I was choosing between productivity or peace. And now I am finding that when you take the pressure off, you can find peace and then say, oh, it does feel good right now to do that task and move from that place. So now I am re-entering a more structured flow. I have more of a timeline. I'm creating new experiences for you all. And I'm really honoring the how more than ever. And it feels so reassuring to me to know that I don't have to like burn it all down. I don't have to take a 6-month sabbatical. I just have to shift the energy behind it, which is really just proof of how freaking powerful you are. If you go into it thinking it's going to be hard and heavy and urgent, there's never going to be enough time, we're never going to get it all done, it's going to feel that way. And if you go in accepting what's in front of you, and not from a bypassing, not from like a toxic productivity place, but from a place of reprogramming the pressure in the first place, you shift the energy behind it and you can still do the things that you need to do. It is not what you do, it is how you do it. So I would be curious for you to run your own experiment. Wherever your biggest energy drain is, wherever the place in your life of pressure and tightness comes in, hold your own like 1 week experiment. And for 1 week, give yourself permission to stop immediately when the pressure shows up, just to see what happens. And you can warn your partner, like for the next week, the chores may not get done as quickly because every time I start feeling stressed about the chores, I'm going to stop and reset. This is the energy first rule that I teach all my clients. If you are in a dysregulated place, we are not pushing through. We are pausing and recentering. And I got to go deep into that rule last month, and I am inviting you into it now. For the next week, what would happen if you identified the point of your depletion in your life and you made yourself the buffer for the next week? You're going to stop immediately when there is pressure, tightness, or urgency, and just know you can go back to it after this week. Like this is temporary, but just see what happens. And you might be surprised by how much still gets done from that centered place. And remember, this is what we do inside of Thrive Mama. We don't just change your healthy habits. We change the energy behind how you take care of yourself. We are building, yes, nourishing foundations of food and fuel and herbs and blood sugar and hormones and these foundational pieces in your body. And we are changing the energy that you bring into taking care of yourself, into motherhood, into moving through your busy life. That happens through nervous system healing, through ceremony, through energy work, and it is so powerful. And we are doing it together inside of Thrive Mama. Doors are reopening so soon. Come back next week for a really special and exciting announcement around that. And until we meet again, take beautiful care of yourself.